Hello today. Welcome to the greatest year in music history, the only podcast about the greatest year in music history. I'm John.
And I'm Jen. And if you're new here, we're currently discussing the second greatest year in music history, which is 1995.
That's right.
Yeah. We already discussed the actual number one greatest year in music history in season 1, so go check that out. No spoilers. But anyway, we're still breaking down the greatest albums from 95, one album / episode at a time. And so today we're talking about Jagged Little Pill by Alanis Morissette.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it, eh?
So real quick, can I just say?
Yes.
I'm so excited for this album to talk about this.
Mm-hmm.
I won't give anything away, but man, get ready. Okay, where did you first hear it?
Well, I guess my first encounter with Alanis was probably You Can't Do That on Television on Nickelodeon, the show she was on as a kid. I don't know if you knew that.
Hold.
Yeah.
Stop. Right now. Pause the podcast. Are you serious?
I don't think she starred in it. I think she just happened to be there or something.
Okay.
I don't even know if I really ever.
Why do I feel like I knew this, but I completely forgot it?
Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. No, but the first music, I'm sure it was the You Ought to Know video.
Mm-hmm.
It was pretty iconic. Definitely all over MTV.
Yeah.
Nonstop.
Yeah.
In 95.
Yeah.
And I feel like 95 was probably the first year I was really cognizantly watching MTV. Mm-hmm. Age 10, you know?
Right.
What about you?
Yeah. I don't remember I don't have a memorable moment of it, but it had to have been the Ironic video or one of the videos for sure on MTV.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe the radio. And then I remember listening to this album with my dad, but I don't think he introduced me to it. I think I had already heard Ironic or You Ought to Know. Yeah.
Did you have the CD?
I had the cassette tape.
Whoa.
And the CD.
And we have the record.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's fantastic.
I know. But so, yeah, does this album still rule?
Well, yeah, I mean, the iconic songs are still iconic, you know? Mm-hmm. I think You Ought to Know, definitely no spoilers, but was overplayed. For me, anyway. but yeah, I mean, it's still a tremendous record. I mean, I guess we have Dave Coulier to thank. Shout out to Dave Coulier if you're listening.
Yeah, well, I saw some clip of her doing an interview maybe a few years ago or 10 years ago ish. And she was like, well, yeah, most of my albums I sing about relationships because that's what's going on in my life. Right. Yeah. And so, future albums are about future relationships, and this one is about maybe and then I saw an interview with Mr. Coulier, and he was like, there were rumors that some of the songs were about me because we dated, but then there's a line in one of the songs where it was an inside joke between the two of them, and he was like, when I heard that line, I was like, oh wow, it's about me.
Now, this was pre her involvement with Ryan Reynolds. Mm-hmm. Do you think she saw the Blake Lively movie? Do you think she's at home in her lavish, I assume mansion, well-deserved, going double diamond record selling, right? Reading about the Ryan Reynolds drama, going I told you, I could have told you.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, no. It's a little ironic. Okay, no. I didn't know this was not her first album.
So me either.
Until this week.
Hold on. In 95, when this came out, she was 21 years old.
And she had her first album in like 91?
Meaning she was 17.
And there was another album after that.
Yeah.
Then they're both classified as like dance pop. Mm-hmm. I didn't listen to them. I didn't want to taint the memory.
No, I haven't heard the first two at all, but that blew my mind. I don't know why. I mean, a lot of these singers start very young and love singing from a very young age, but to have 2 whole albums, I think way younger than like Shania ever was.
Right. I read the first album went, I mean, in Canada, but went like platinum. Like it was not nothing.
Also, if anybody's listening to this right now, go Google her first album and look at the album art.
Well, the artwork is fantastic.
My God.
It's
so good.
It's similar to, I'm going to go on a weird tangent. It's similar to Pantera's first albums in the 80s when they were like a glam hair metal band and Phil wasn't singing yet.
Okay.
And then they completely
took a turn.
Reimagined. And you can't find those or stream those
they stripped
officially like anywhere.
Wow.
So they're pretty rare. I'm sure they're on YouTube, unofficially, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, they do not associate themselves with that era.
Okay.
I wonder if she does or not with her first albums.
Oh yeah, I don't know. I have no idea. Interesting. But yes, of course, this album still rules. I realized as I was listening to it this whole week, this might be one of the only albums I know every single word of every single song.
Okay.
The whole thing.
You know what I realized listening to it this week?
Uh-oh. What?
I don't love the harmonica.
Oh, okay.
You learn something new about yourself. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I've been wondering your take on this.
Well, there's a lot going on, and there's a lot. I love the angst.
Yeah.
Any angst is always fun. Mm-hmm. Like I said, I don't love a harmonica. Mm-hmm. And I don't love some of the screeching. Yeah. Which is probably unfair to classify it as screeching, but there's a lot. At the end of the first song, when she goes, 3
octaves.
Yeah, there's an key change, sorry. Mm-hmm. Where she goes up an octave. That's pretty rough. And I get what she's going for, and it's still a great, opening song.
Yeah.
To, announcing, hey, this is my new style. Mm-hmm. Here it is. Yeah. And you're like, whoa, this is incredible.
Yeah.
Then there's some, there's some interesting moments.
Yeah. That's too funny. I know whenever we were listening to it and it would get to a part like that, you'd be like, no.
Yeah, no. It's a hard pass.
Yeah. So, but I don't know. I see what you're saying. I get it. I mean, she's wailing at some points, but one of my favorite things, and I wonder, is this one of the original emo records?
It's pretty emo.
Dude, one of the reasons I love it so much is the lyrics aren't just about aggression. You don't just know that she's upset and pissed off, and
no, you ought to know. She's saying you ought to know how pissed off I am.
Exactly. But
she's saying you ought to know how pissed off I am.
Right. Because you can feel it. That's my favorite part is you just I'm listening and now I'm angry. That's how good it is in the voice and everything that I love it. But anyway, I'm calm.
Yeah. Yeah, you ought to know, we could just talk about that song. I didn't know. I ought to have known. I ought to have known. There was a original kind of music arrangement, and they wanted it to have more, oomph or whatever. So on the actual recording, it's Dave Navarro and Flea.
That's right.
And they just like took out the other music that was like kind of originally there, like a temp track, just had the vocals, and they kind of just jammed around until they landed on something.
Dude.
So like all those cool little bass lines and those little extra little filler notes where they'll come out of a chorus back into it. And it's like, well, when you think about it, you're like, oh, well, that's very Flea, especially 90s Chili Peppers era, One Hot Minute era.
Flea.
Yeah, Flea
Wow.
and Dave. Yeah.
Oh my God, I love that. That's right. Yeah, I was listening to that song, and the first lyric is, I want you to know that I'm happy for you, and I wish nothing but the best for you both.
But she's angry. So she's being ironic.
Whoa.
I don't know if that's the right
terminology.
Usage, but anyway.
And I just remember, literally, we were at the coffee shop earlier, and I'm just giggling because I'm like, is she? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, clever girl. I love it.
Yeah.
But yeah. Is it a no skip album for you?
No.
What would you skip?
Well, like there's the one that sounds like a Dave Matthews Band song. Shout out to Dave. There's one where there's an intro that sounds like Dave Matthews Band.
Which one?
It starts with like an acoustic kind of
Perfect.
I don't really remember. I don't remember the name. And like I kind of would skip some of the ones that got overplayed for me. Mm-hmm. Like ironic. Sorry, I don't know. Yeah. And there's a couple. There's a couple like slow ones here and there where I don't know. Wow. But I don't know all the lyrics like you do. So is it a dumb question to ask if you think it's a no skip or not?
Yeah, right. No, it's not. I am listening to the whole thing every time. It's actually a no skip.
Okay.
For me. I love it. Start to finish.
Yeah, I was, You're Not Alone. So it won the album of the year, record of the year, whatever, Grammy.
Oh, yeah.
You know who she beat out in the same category?
Who?
It's like Michael Jackson, Mariah, Pearl Jam. I forget another one. But she won, not them.
Oh, what? Okay. It was me. Yeah.
That's amazing.
I believe it.
Deservedly so.
9
in my opinion.
Grammy nominations.
Yeah.
9 Grammy nominations, 5 wins, including
huge.
Album of the Year. Dude.
And I think on the one thing I always love to see is when, the songwriting credits or whatever, it's her and some other dude.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
It's just like
I was
banging out hit.
Yeah.
Just like that. It's fantastic.
I was reading about that she moved from Canada to LA. Mm-hmm. And within like a month of moving there is when she met this Glenn, I want to say.
Sure.
Ballard.
Tim.
And within 30 minutes, they had such an instant connection that they were already writing music. And it just was a huge connection and hit to work together.
Yeah.
Every star line.
Amazing collaboration.
I know.
Yeah.
I love it. That's awesome.
I also read, weirdly enough, well, I guess we could talk about favorite songs first. Then I have another story, but go ahead.
Okay. All right.
What's your top?
Well, it's hard because I love them all. I want to say Perfect is one of my favorite songs.
Okay.
But then listening to it this week, I really love Mary Jane.
Okay.
It's really good. But I've always loved Not the Doctor. I can't, you can't ask me. I can't answer.
Okay.
It's too hard to pick one.
I think weirdly, maybe it's not weirdly, the one I had felt myself humming after I listened to the whole album. Listened to it a few times through.
Yeah.
Some on my own, some with you, obviously. And Head Over Feet, I think, is my favorite song on the album.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Maybe because it didn't feel as overplayed to me as Ironic and You Ought to Know.
Right. Exactly.
Just the chorus. And now that one, contradicting myself earlier, I said I don't love a harmonica. This one features a harmonica pretty prominently as the bridge section. But I still really love the song.
Yeah, same. Also,
the chorus is perfect. To borrow a phrase from another song of hers, but yes.
Yeah. Right Through You, the chorus,
it just cuts right through you.
Knock me.
I think.
That's good. Yeah. Oh my God. I love them all. They're so good.
So did you ever see her live?
No. There were a couple opportunities in life and we just didn't for some silly reason.
Yeah.
But I kind of regret it.
It's kind of ironic, don't you think?
All right. Every time.
That's the last one.
But I regret it. When she comes back, I'm going to go. Yeah.
Yeah. I've never seen her either.
No.
Although back when I worked in TV for a minute there, they would air one of her concerts, and there was this series called Soundstage that would release a lot of these kind of intimate setting live shows for a lot of different, some 70s bands too, but a lot of 90s bands.
Yeah.
And the Alanis hour set, it was one that was played maybe the most, like out of like remembering all the different airings, and we'd have the TV on, at the office all day long, basically. And just looking at the schedule, they played that. The Alanis one must have rated so highly. Yeah. And watched it a few times over the years. Again, sitting in the office, and it was flawless. Obviously she's incredible on the recording, but live too sounded, studio quality.
Yeah.
So that's always, I always love seeing that.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Seeing them live, whether it's on YouTube or on a small cable television station or in person, when they're like that good.
Right.
And it was recent concerts.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a...
So it was like 2010s era.
Oh.
And just...
Nice.
Looks exactly the same, sounds exactly the same. It was great. Right. Yeah. And I did read... Is that she toured for like 18 months?
On this album?
On this album. Some of which, one of the opening bands was a little English band called Radiohead.
What?
Opened for her.
See? This is...
This is post-Creep...
Yeah.
Ben's era Radiohead.
Man.
Opened for her on tour. Which I just think is amazing.
I know. I love that. Yeah. And then she was one of the only... I remember it was a point of contention that there were like 4 female artists invited to Woodstock 95? Woodstock 94. She was one of them. It was like her, Sheryl Crow, Jewel, and one other.
Liz Phair, maybe?
No, don't tell me. I forget.
It wasn't Sarah McLachlan. We watched the documentary. I don't remember.
Yeah.
I know Jewel was there, unless Jewel was in the 99 one, or both.
Oh, yeah.
Because they featured her in the doc. That's the only reason I remember.
Right. But...
and Jewel was huge in 95, in this era as well. Yeah.
I feel like even... though she's a female artist, that the aggression that is in this album.
Oh yeah, the angst. I love it.
The angst speaks to dudes too.
90s angst.
Yeah. And dudes were into it, I would think.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. But what's your favorite guitar part or lyric? I know we talked about favorite songs, but do you have does a bass line or a guitar part stick out?
Well, the only one that really sticks out is on You Ought to Know, especially now that I know it's Dave.
Mm-hmm.
There's like a cool little solo towards the end.
Yeah.
But the Flea's bass line of You Ought to Know is really like kind of that jazz funk Chili Peppers.
Yep.
And that plus the up-tempo drums really make this song,
yeah.
Great.
Did was it Taylor on the recording?
No.
Oh, it wasn't.
That's the thing. Shout out to Taylor. First of all, Taylor, R.I.P.
Yeah.
What is it with 95 and Taylor being associated with bands in the videos for bands that he didn't record with? One of which led us the other Foo Fighters, of course.
Yeah. Wow. That's awesome.
Which, speaking of Taylor, should we talk about some of the music videos?
Yeah, I think so. Oh, wait. Can I say my favorite lyric? Well, I have multiple favorite lyrics.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
I can't. I'll just end up reading them. Maybe we should not.
Okay. That's a bonus episode.
It's just me reading the entire...
No one steal it. That'll be our Patreon. It's just you reading lyrics.
Okay. Cool.
Just reading lyrics and then going, see, this is great. And then keep reading more.
Okay. I'll do 2.
Okay.
And All I Really Want, the first track, she says, she talks about like, she can't stand silence, but also is envious of people that can like sit in silence. And then she says, why are you so petrified of silence? Here, can you handle this? And it just stops. There's zero music.
Okay, that's pretty good.
For like 2 seconds. And I just giggle every time. And then
that's a good bit.
In Perfect, there's so many good lines in that because it's all about like perfectionism, but living up to this gold standard by your parents or your teachers.
Yeah, I think she mentioned, I read a thing that she had mentioned. It was very much inspired by some of her parents.
Yeah.
Ideology, wag of the finger downward towards her. She's like, okay, I'll write a hit song about it.
I heard that one of the first songs that was pitched to the record company, which I think it's on Maverick, the AR guy, the first song that was pitched was Perfect, was this song. And when he heard it, he was like, I had never heard that topic put in that way, in the way in which she did it with her lyrics.
There you go.
That's amazing.
Shout out to Maverick Record. You got Deftones, Alanis.
Yeah.
I think it was Madonna's label too.
I think so too. Yeah. But in Perfect, I mean, can I just say every line in Perfect is
perfect? Mm-hmm. Okay.
She says, if you're flawless, then you'll win my love. Oof. Mm-hmm. Hard.
So that means no one will win her love.
Yeah. But she's talking about a parent saying that too.
Oh, sure, of course.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was still thinking about Dave Coulier. But anyway, yes, go on.
Those are the only 2 I'll read, but God, it's so good.
Well, stay tuned for a Patreon announcement.
All right.
For you read lyrics.
Yeah, sounds good. Okay,
we'll
music
that.
videos.
Yeah, there's, I think we watched 5.
Yeah. 5 official music videos, 6 official singles that were on the radio.
Yeah.
At that time. Out of, how many are on the whole album? Like 8 or 10? Let me check.
It's not a long record. It's not a ton of songs.
No.
But yeah, back, I guess in the 90s, you just kept dropping singles.
13 songs.
It's almost half.
The 13th being the like...
It's like just an alt version of...
Alt version and then the hidden track.
Right.
Yeah. But, so let's say 12. If we call it 12, then half of the album were singles. Huge hits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's You Ought to Know, the first one.
Which, set in the desert?
Yeah, I think they're in like Death Valley. Yeah, then she's in a garden.
And it's very Blind Melon field vibes.
Yeah. But at first it's very, she's running around in the desert and then playing with a band, and Taylor Hawkins is there.
Yep.
Which you can barely even see him, especially at first, but like You see the blonde hair, you see the goatee, you see high elbows and just smashing drums as hard as you can. You're like, dude, that's Taylor.
Yeah. You said it. You were like,
I could tell his silhouette practically, you know?
Love it.
And he's in other ones too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's good. It's iconic. I feel like if you hear the name Alanis, you just picture that music video.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if there's much more to it. She's like hitchhiking kind of, and then stops to play a show.
Yeah. Well, sometimes you got to play a show in the desert.
It's good.
Well, then there's You Learn.
Oh yeah.
That one also had Taylor in it.
Right.
He hits her with a pie, and then they have like a food fight, a playful food fight.
That's the one where it starts off in the apartment, right? And then she goes down
Yeah, they have like a crane shot, Wonder coming out of the window of an apartment, and then she pops down the fire escape ladder.
Right.
And then almost walks into traffic.
It was one shot, right?
I think so.
I think so too. And then when the cars, no spoilers, spoiler alert. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, spoiler for a 30-year-old music video. Go on.
And then the cars are about to crash is when it cuts from that one take. But that whole song and video is just like, go through the hard stuff. Like, it's gonna make you grow and learn the most.
Like when she kisses the mime.
Oh, I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. But
like when you're having a pie food fight with Taylor Hawkins.
Yeah, you have to learn.
Yeah.
Through
yes.
Pie fights.
Let's see what else. Then there's, Ironic.
Yeah.
That one, to me, You Ought to Know is very iconic. Mm-hmm. Ironic was iconic just because of the... Even
more so,
like,
I think.
Yeah, like the most iconic, at least for me anyway, as far as the editing.
Yeah.
So they're not doing... It's 4 different Alanises. Alani? Uh-huh. Alani. In one car.
Yep.
So, singing along, and each in a different outfit. But they're not doing, like, visual effects. They're just editing to
a cut
POV, like
right.
Seeing a different person. Now, I don't want to get anyone in trouble, but only the driving Alanis had a seatbelt on.
Oh.
I don't know what the statute of limitations are on no seatbelts. But that's just an unbelievable music video. Even if
it is.
To me, anyway, this song was a little overplayed.
Oh.
The video, I was like, I'll watch it again right now.
Uh-huh.
It's so cool.
Agreed. And I feel like, I don't know, had we ever seen that before? Had any artist or band done something to that effect yet? And
I don't know.
I'd have to like research it, but I feel like it was so cool because it was like, whoa, what? This is movie level cut editing.
Right.
And
because they're not doing the trickery where there's like a seam or a stitch and there's 2 versions of her on camera at the same time.
Right.
Which can sometimes be kind of cheesy.
Yeah.
It was just 4 people in the car.
Yeah.
But each time it cuts, it's a different version of her. And I think she had given some kind of interview that like, it was like 4 sides of her personality.
Yeah.
And each one of them is
acting
singing the song, but they're acting a different way. And it just, and they're in a completely different wardrobe, different attitude, different mannerisms, the way they sing the song, the way they look out the window. It was just really, really, really well done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. That's awesome. And then there was one for Hand in My Pocket.
Hand in My Pocket, yeah.
Is that the black and white one?
Yeah, that one, kind of like one of the ones we mentioned last week on the Shania Woman and Me. I don't know if it was the video for that song, but a song from the record. Yeah. Where it was slow-mo, but her mouth is moving to the speed of the song.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
So I wonder if they employ the same technique.
Maybe. Probably. I thought it was so freaking cool watching it because she is head on. Like in the Shania video, it's like panning from like top right to bottom left, and yeah, she's singing. It's in slow motion, and she's singing in line with the song. But anyway, you're not like looking right at her. You're looking at a whole scene. In Hand in My Pocket, it's her face is facing the camera, and oh my, just
a lot of like 4 out of the 5 videos, she's staring down the barrel of the lens.
Yeah.
And I noticed too that I feel like some of the time they're employing the same technique with that, like they probably did with Shania, you know, shoot at 2x so you can play it back in 1x. And other times I feel like, are people just walking kind of slow?
Oh,
because
maybe.
there were times when she looked very much just normal.
Yeah.
While singing, and people are kind of walking by her slowly. And there are other times where she, at least in my head, it looked like, you know, her hair moved in slow motion, and you can't fake that unless it's in slow-mo.
Right.
And other times it looked like she was just kind of standing there, and they told the people just walk really slowly behind her.
Yeah.
I don't know, but it was fun regardless.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It could be. But, and then last one is Head Over Feet.
Yeah.
Which is, she's literally just singing into the camera.
Yeah.
Black background, beautiful eyeballs, and that's it.
Yeah. And she's like singing half the time, the other time just staring at the camera.
Right.
And then it's over.
Yeah. But it's such a good song that
it's my favorite song.
I'll watch it.
Yeah. And she is quite photogenic. So
yeah,
I was not complaining.
No. And I think that song is about potentially
gravity,
falling in love with potentially like a friend. I don't know.
An Uncle Joey.
Wow. No.
Cut it out. Okay. What else do we have? I mean, we got.
Yeah.
We already know how I stand about some overplayedness.
Oh yeah, I guess.
What about you though? What do you think?
Only one that was overplayed, and it was only slightly, was Hand in My Pocket, to be honest.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
I don't love that song. I don't love that song.
It's good, but
it's too. I know everything has angst, and I don't really pay attention to lyrics, but it was a little too kind of, at least seeming or sounding like it was a little like happy-go-lucky, and I'm like, I need more oomph. But that's just me.
Yeah. How does it compare to her other stuff? Have you listened to any of it?
I mean, there was the one, a couple record or two after this one.
Right.
She had the video in the subway.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I wrote down I only remember 4 other songs, but they were on a couple different albums that came after Jagged Little Pill. Thank You.
That's the one, right?
One.
Okay.
Yeah. Uninvited. Super, like, basically a cappella.
Oh.
Maybe there's a guitar. I'm singing it in my head.
Okay.
Anyway, So Pure was this one song that I completely forgot about until this week, but it's really good. And then Hands Clean is really good, and it had a music video, but it was controversial because she's basically saying, like, I was groomed, and I was, like, groomed and may have had legal...
Cut it out.
Yeah.
Dave Coulier was older than her. Anyway, we don't need to relitigate that. Yeah, I remember Thank You was controversial just because the video was controversial.
Oh, right.
She didn't have any pants on.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
You can't do that on the subway.
No. You can't?
No. But you could in certain movies. Anyway, yeah, I mean, what do you think? You got any final thoughts?
No, you heard me gush for the past 30, how long have we been doing? 34 minutes. And, yeah.
Okay.
It's just one of my top favorite albums of all time, not just this year. I love it. I love the angst. I love the lyrics. Yeah. It's just good. Definitely her best
Sure.
album.
Of course.
Yeah. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I think the songs that weren't as overplayed for me still hit really well, still work really well. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think I kind of said it all, you know. I mean, I thought some of it was overplayed, sure.
Yeah.
Just because it was so massive. So, I mean, sometimes being overplayed is not really a bad thing. It's just a testament to how popular it was.
Right.
And it's popular for a reason, right? Yep. Mm-hmm. As far as ratings,
you already know mine. 95 out of 95.
Wow.
97 out of 95.
Okay.
What about you?
Well, I was going to go a little lower.
Wow.
Down in that B range.
It's fine.
And go with an 80. But
80 out of 95?
Here's the thing. I mean, I wasn't.
No, fix your rating.
I wasn't the biggest Alanis fan.
I cannot.
Then it hasn't really changed now.
What did you give The Woman in Me? Play it back. No, I'm kidding. How dare you? 80 out of 95? I'm going to call her. Hold on.
We'll get her on the line.
Hey, Alanis. Can you
80
imagine?
out of 95. I think I gave Shania an 85.
You liked that more than Jagged Little Pill?
Boots? Come on.
Oh.
I mean, come on, Boots. Sorry, of course.
Right.
How could I get it?
Come on over.
Yeah, exactly. Shout out to season 1.
Maybe I'll forgive you.
Okay.
But, okay. I won't move out.
Okay. Thank you for that. And thanks everyone for listening to this episode. Make sure to follow us on social. Search at Greatest Music Pod, all your favorite social platforms. We're finally on Blue Sky. I know you've been wondering this whole time.
Yeah, and tell us your favorite memories of this album. If you love this album as much as I do, then let's be best friends. And give us a follow and a rating and a review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Pocket Casts.
And stay tuned for next week, where we'll be covering Foo Fighters' debut album, Foo Fighters.
Yeah.
See you next week.